your morning dose of coffee and sports. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
This from the Yates Morning Center chat line. On a play in the second half where Nichols had a fast break and Bacho, another Red Raider, went up to block the shot. But when Bacho came to the floor, he was banging the floor. He doesn't seem to be 100% and seemed to be lingering. And we said he was gassed. Need Bacho, but that was a back-and-forth game last night. Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's where you need Fardaws Amac.
I need another big.
Yeah.
Need somebody to step up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, where I feel like Robert Jennings needs to step up. We need him, unfortunately, because of the situation you're in with lack of bigs. You need him to step up and play a bigger role.
This question, and I don't know that anybody, well, somebody knows it, but I don't think it's any of the three of us. How long will Jalen Tyson be out? Yeah, I don't know.
I have no clue.
Yeah. He was in a boot sitting on the bench last night, but sometimes the boot looks worse than it is.
Sure.
You know, so you can speculate all you want.
And sometimes the boot is out 6 to 8 months.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So.
Well, I was thinking days, not weeks, and you're throwing out months. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just
I'm just saying, you just have no idea.
Yeah. Right.
Coach Adams said it was a sprained ankle and that he was a game time decision last night. So
that wouldn't lead you to think it's 6 to 8 months if he was a game time decision. But we've had coaches around these parts say things like that. And next thing you know, Jason Morrow's missing 2 months.
The old day-to-day is sometimes.
Well, in fairness, if we find a miracle cure to fix a broken leg immediately, then yes, you can get in the game a whole lot faster. Then
I was talking with somebody about that season yesterday and Jason Morrow's situation and how much time he missed, and you remember he was back for the bowl game, and I remember him at bowl practice crying, talking about how hard it was to not be out there with his teammates and how bad he felt because he couldn't help his teammates. And you're like, man, this guy's passionate. He loves his team. And then we got in the bowl game, and he just flat out punched a guy in the bowl game and got ejected, and also didn't get to help his teammates. I was like, okay, well, that was interesting. Jace.
Yeah, you kind of wish he'd come back. Or, man, you also wonder the old what if he doesn't get hurt in that West Virginia game and is available for a couple more games? Does that turn the tide in terms of that whole season? You beat Texas, what happens then?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a game of inches sometimes, and it's a game of what ifs, and the twists and turns on the fate of a coach and a program sometimes hinge on a play or two that you don't necessarily know it at the time, but you look at it 10 years later or 5 years later or a year later, and you go, that was a big moment. Mm-hmm. That was a big moment, because if you have Jason Morrow, you might beat Texas. You beat Texas, Coach Tuberville gets extended, and you never know what happens after that. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah, you have a whole lot of different things that could transpire there. All right, 6:36 this morning. I want to get your thought on this, because it happened yesterday. So the University of Virginia, obviously, a reeling situation from them, with 3 other players that were killed by a former player, another one injured, and it put them in a spot where they canceled their last 2 games. Okay, they were not going to be bowl eligible, and so what they have announced, and it has been submitted, and now it's been granted, is that the players that had expiring eligibility, okay, so could be seniors, could be super seniors, could be COVID seniors, whatever, they're going to get an extra year from Virginia if they want it.
They're going to get an extra year from Virginia?
And the NCAA has granted it. They're going to get an extra year of eligibility.
I guess if I'm being honest, I'm not in favor of that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm sympathetic to the fact that those guys lost 2 games, but again, they were not going to be bowl eligible, even if they had won their last 2 games. But but Virginia has asked for, and it's been granted by the NCAA for them to.
Goodness.
They will be, is what this story says. They will be granted an extra year. One of the players, Billy Kemp IV, has already declared for the NFL draft. Anthony Johnson, who is a first-team All-ACC cornerback, just finished his 6th season and has accepted an invitation to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I saw a scroll this morning. The UTSA quarterback says he's going to be back for his 7th year.
God. These guys are going to have doctorates by the time it's all said and done, right?
You know what? Do you really think that's true? No. Because they won't. Because they won't.
Probably not.
But, I mean, they won't.
Yeah.
You would like to think they would.
Right.
But they won't.
Yeah. Some of them will have masters at least and maybe working on a second one. But, goodness.
I mean, I hate what happened there, obviously. Mm-hmm. I think it's not just hard on the families, but it's hard on that whole entire team.
Right.
You hate it for them. It did kind of put a stinker on the end of their season there. I mean, is there a line where you would said it would have been okay? I mean, if it was after week 3 or 4, I mean, probably it would feel a little bit different. I don't know, but
I also understand the canceling of games of the game. You know, the first one, but the second one, I was like, it's an unfortunate tragedy, but if I don't know. At some point in time, you have to return to your life.
Yes, exactly.
And
exactly.
Like I said, I understand the first one. There's lots of people that have tragedies, and a week later or a few days later, go back to work. And again, I understand that it was just absolutely horrific. But
yeah,
you know, you could have played that second game, and put yourself in that spot. But that's what they have chosen to do, and that's what they have gotten. And that's what they will get.
You're tuned in to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
That's not to say that they don't respect the run game that you have, but you're talking about one quarterback leading the conference in passing so far this year. And remember, he didn't start the first game.
All right.
Still played a lot, though.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
I just don't want to disappoint you. As much as I disappoint you, I don't want to disappoint you in some things that you expect from me.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
1948, 14th Heisman Trophy Award is awarded.
Okay.
Doak Walker.
Doak Walker, he's a good one.
1960, Major League expansion team, the Los Angeles Angels, sign a 4-year lease to use Dodger Stadium. 1961, Philadelphia Warriors center Wilt Chamberlain scores 78 points in a 151-147 3-overtime defeat to the LA Lakers at the Civic Center in Philadelphia. It's the second highest game total in NBA history.
And I think I read this earlier in that game, Elgin Baylor had 63. So he's not the high point man. He's sort of 63 in the game.
Yikes.
1977, 43rd Heisman Trophy is awarded. Earl Campbell, running back out of Texas. 2011, the NBA and the Players Union reach a financial agreement to end a 161-day lockout, shortening the season by 16 games. And in 2018, the 84th Heisman is awarded to Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. It is National Brownie Day.
Big fan of the brownie.
I mean, who's not? I worry about people that aren't fans of the brownie.
This is rather trivial, and you guys will shake your heads, but now that Fink and I have moved from one side of the court to the scores cable side of the court, were now included in the pregame treats that one of the ladies on the scores table makes, Ann. And so the other day she brought us brownies, and they were just absolutely. It was
Ann couldn't walk across the court beforehand.
What's
up with that?
Well, I feel like we're now in a club. That we've been there now long enough that we're inside the circle of those that get the pregame treat.
She delivers them to Hacks and I in our booth.
Okay.
I mean, she brings them to the booth and even makes to order. We don't tell her. She just knows what our favorites are because she asked.
You guys are...
And she brings us, like, we get different cookies.
You guys are on the higher pecking order.
I get oatmeal raisin and he gets chocolate chip or something.
Well, we're
white chocolate macadamia nut. Yeah.
We've just been kind of included in this little treat in the last couple of years. And
yeah, I don't mean to go big time on you, but Hacks and I get ours delivered.
Okay.
I can't believe Ann, like the nicest lady ever, didn't walk them across the court to you guys.
Well, we're just
I kind of think that makes me feel like she really didn't want to, but now she feels obligated because you guys are seeing that everybody else gets them. So
in basketball, generally those things were handed out at the table there in the media pregame meal, and now that they've moved that to a different location, the treats are now dispensed along the scores table, and now we're included in that. Man. The other day we had our choice between pound cake and pumpkin bread, and the pumpkin bread was spectacular.
Ask her for some oatmeal raisin cookies. They're fantastic.
Okay.
She's special lady.
Very, very nice lady, yes.
Happy birthday, former Red Raider Joel Falani is 39 today. Okay. Nicki Minaj is 40. Dwight Howard, 37. Terry Hatcher, 58. Kim Basinger, 69. Phillip Rivers, 41. And Mike Mussina is 55.
Okay.
Loose.
And we spent the last couple of days talking about Pearl Harbor. Today, we're going to talk about John Lennon, former member of the Beatles and the rock group that transformed popular music in the 60s. Shot and killed by an obsessed fan in New York City.
Announced on Monday Night Football by the venerable Howard Cosell. It was, and I was watching that game, and I know I've told this story before. It was just chilling and stunning that night. Obviously, it was a Monday night. It was the Patriots. The Patriots were playing. It was right before halftime. This was when they were wearing their real uniforms with the lineman there on the side of the helmet, the Patriot. Mm-hmm. That's. I know you looked at me like they're real.
They wore it.
Not their costumes that they're wearing now.
No, they wore them Thursday before last against Buffalo.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Or was that just last Thursday?
Yeah. No, it was just crazy. 6:52 this morning. The one thing that Howard said, he said this was his quote: "An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York, the most famous perhaps of all the Beatles, shot twice in the head, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital," and then he said this: "dead on arrival." It was just chilling the way that Howard delivered that.
If you could pattern your broadcasting game after anybody, it feels like Howard Cosell would have been good for you.
I loved and hated Howard Cosell. I loved him on Monday Night Football, and I hated him on baseball.
You're somebody that says that you'd rather be loved or hated than not known.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We differ on that one a little bit.
But, I did like me some Howard Cosell. There's no question. Mm-hmm. No question about it. I always loved his speaking of sports commentaries too.
Yeah. I mean, you're putting together a list of the 10 greatest ever. I'm putting your boy Howie in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably so. 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll talk some more Red Raider basketball next, as the Red Raiders did win last night over at Nichols. And now they hit the books for a week or so, and they'll be back at it next week against Eastern Washington. So they'll be looking for some improvement there.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, getting you ready for today's sports day.
3 of the first 4 games have been at home, so at some point in time you're going to have to venture outside the 806. So that'll That'll start this week.
while having a little fun along the way.
Always good if you can blame it on somebody else, right?
Yeah, sure.
Especially some media guy.
Sure. Right, some media guy.
Catch the show live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Thank you for being with us this morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Take your thoughts and comments this morning on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Benchmark Hotline is open too. This from Raiders Dad. Chuck, has the lucky lady dropped an Arkansas on you yet when y'all are discussing something and you start not making any sense? No. No, she has not. I don't know that she's aware of the Arkansas reference.
What?
I have to send a text message.
I know. I was
I'll be
just
right
about
back.
to say, let me grab my phone real quick.
I can assure you she's been involved in conversations with me when she starts discussing something and I discuss something else that is completely unrelated to the question that she has asked me. So, yeah.
So you're saying it's not just us?
No.
Okay.
I think maybe an initiative for 2023 is to continue to work on my listening. It'd be a 2023 initiative.
Okay.
Work on being a better listener.
I wish you luck.
Well, I mean, we're all allowed to improve, right? That's what you say. You're allowed to.
We
get
are
better.
allowed.
You're allowed to get better.
Unfortunately, I don't know that I'm improving in any of my problem areas.
What would you cite as your chief problem area?
Being more of a happy-go-lucky, positive individual.
Okay. Well, that could be an initiative for you.
Yeah, I think the world has hardened me a bit over the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay, that we've been together about 6, so maybe 6, 7. I'm just thinking that maybe I would have thought that we would have rubbed off on you. I would have rubbed off you in terms of my happy-go-lucky style a little bit better. Instead, it seems to go on the opposite way.
Would you describe Chuck as happy-go-lucky?
I have my happy-go-lucky moments.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and we all do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe Chuck as happy-go-lucky.
No.
What would you describe me as?
I don't know. I wouldn't call you negative Nancy like like I'm referred to as.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hardened criminal? I mean,
No.
Jeff is definitely not happy-go-lucky. Who do we have that's happy-go-lucky? Clint, maybe?
Clint's pretty happy-go-lucky, yeah.
Catherine,
Yeah.
down the hall.
Yeah, down the hall. Okay.
And she's not cracking a whip at all of us.
Right, but once the whip is cracked, she's happy.
Jeff brought up somebody that nobody in our listening audience knows.
Yeah, right.
Choice isn't happy-go-lucky. Haxton isn't happy-go-lucky.
No.
Nobody stretches the dick.
Jackson. Well, Jackson's just kind of like neutral. I don't know that he's happy-go-lucky, but
happy
he's just
to be
like
here, maybe.
he's just going.
For a couple more weeks.
Dickens is not happy-go-lucky.
No, I don't.
How about Gus?
Yeah.
Gus is
Gus?
happy.
Yeah.
Gus
That's not
might
a
be
bad
our-
answer.
Gus might be our most happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
David Tedford?
Gus and Clint.
Gus and Clint, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, 7:18 this morning here on the morning drive. Did anything? And I know that there was. Did anything? What stood out to you that was positive last night? Maybe that's a better way to ask that question.
I think Pop Isaacs is going to be a stud for you.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a flash in the pan who just, had some good games early on. I think he's going to be a legit scorer for you all season long.
Okay. He had 24 last night, 5 of 6 from 3, 7 of 8 free throw line, played 31 minutes, and asked for the ball. I mean, there was times where he clearly wanted the ball. He was feeling it last night. Mm-hmm. Here is Coach Mark Adams on Pop Isaacs.
Yeah, I thought Pop, after he settled down, just made some really big plays for us, and he hit some huge threes. Let's see, what did he go for? Yeah, 5 or 6 in the three-point line. So, big shots. We ran a couple sets for him late, and he took advantage of that, and then just made his free throws. And I was proud of him because he had some turnovers early, and his head was down and a little frustrated. And I said, Pop, we're not going to win unless you play well. So get your head up and keep going, and he responded well to that.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a young man. When the head coach says that to you, hey, we're not going to win unless you play well. Get your dauber up.
Yeah, it is some pressure, but I'm sure guys
like that.
They like that. That means they're going to be a key guy.
Free throws were a problem last night for the Red Raiders. 10 of 19 in the first half, so that was 52.63%. They missed 9, and then they missed 8 in the second half, but they made 19 out of 27, 29 of 46. It's probably the difference in the ball game, the made ones. Here's Coach Adams on the missed free throws.
I don't know who our free throw coach is, but we need to dock his pay. But we shot free throws last night and today, and worked on that as we always do. And there's just some games we shoot it really well. A lot of times I think when you look at free throws, sometimes that's just the mental preparation. So I think obviously we came out a little bit flat, and I don't think we're mentally sharp as we've been in games in the past. And we talked about this team and how good they were against BYU and Wyoming and San Diego. And I know the coaching staff certainly didn't overlook them, had a lot of respect for them, but young guys just have to grow up, and this is part of that process, that anybody can beat you on any given night, and you have to respect your opponent.
And sometimes free throw shooting, it becomes contagious. I mean, as much as you kind of get to the free throw line, you get up there and you're unconscious and it starts going in for you. There's some nights where the thing just, for whatever reason, I mean, it could be fatigue, could be your technique, it could be it gets in your head, you start thinking about it too much, and the next thing you know, you're missing tons of free throws.
Sure. And unfortunately, though, feels like free throws are one of those things that are sometimes contagious.
Right. So, Gesundheit. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck is the Gomer Pyle of the morning drive. Goalie! I don't think that's a compliment. Chuck's a natural politician. Don't answer the question they asked. Answer the question you wish they would have asked.
I don't think that's what it is. I think he just doesn't listen to the question.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Jeff is happy-go-lucky. Pop Isaac, helpful until he enters the transfer portal. Don't say that. Somebody says this, so much for winning by a quarter. I think that was related to Mr. McGuire from yesterday.
Well, you said 25 yesterday.
I did.
That is a quarter, and I made the joke.
Right.
We also didn't know that you'd be missing somebody big last night when we were talking about it yesterday.
Absolutely. We did not know that.
That changed how that game went immediately when that news broke.
Mm-hmm. When, if ever, do you see Elijah Fisher getting more PT? I would have thought he would see more action than he has to date. There's probably something that they want to see from him out of practice that translates into the game. That either he's not doing or not doing well enough, and then when he gets into the game, he's not executing the one thing that they want him to execute, therefore he's not getting to play. Yeah, that would be my guess on that. Bullfighter says, where would this team be without Pop? Good thing he recommitted to Tech when he did. You can say the same thing about Jalen Tyson. Good thing he came back.
Absolutely. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. I really hope that, quote, youth isn't the excuse all year. I got tired of hearing that on the TV broadcast and in the press conference. I understand that. I mean, it's also that time of year where you are trying to kind of figure things out, but, you're 7-8 games in, but you're also down 2 guys. So I think, to me, that's the bigger thing is what does this team look like with Jalen Tyson and Fardaws Aimaq and a fully healthy team? Granted, you may not always be fully healthy, but there's a couple of starters. Somebody else brought up earlier, like where would you be if you still had TJ Shannon and all the guys that left? I don't know if you'd be better off or not.
Well, you wouldn't have all the guys that you have.
That's true. Yeah, no question.
Your morning blend of sports.
K-State is coming off a big win over Oklahoma. Of course, the Red Raiders off their 37-34 overtime win over number 22 Texas.
And humor.
Sure to tell them that. You suggested that. And, of course, that got a big laugh.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
All right, 7:32 this morning here on the morning drive. We have a little breaking news. Is apparently Brittney Griner's been released from a Russian prison. We'll get into our thoughts on that. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, but because plenty others will. But anyway, that she has been released. The U.S. Marine Paul Whelan has not. That's all you need to know, and he's been there 4 years.
Oh, that's so disappointing that he was not released as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, your question for me, sir.
All right, so my question for you guys today is, if you look at the Big 12 football standings, who do you think in 2023 makes a jump, and who do you think takes a step back?
Okay.
So, I mean, this is like a way too early question.
Oh, sure.
I'll probably forget that I asked you this one, and like the week before the season starts next year, I'll ask the same question.
Sure, that'll be okay, and I'll probably have a completely different answer.
Well, I mean, because we'll know how many different players, have entered and the team through the portal and left the team through the portal, so it could be a completely different answer.
Can I just kind of walk my way through this just a little bit here can I think out loud for you? Is that allowed?
Sure.
Is that allowed? Okay. So I don't think TCU will be as good next year as they were this year. Okay, I think they're going to take a big step back. I think K-State's going to take a big step back. I have a hard time believing Oklahoma's going to be 3-6 next year. I have a hard time believing Baylor's going to be 4-5 next year. Texas might be a game improved next year. So could I see Texas Tech jumping into the top three? Because you're fourth this year, 5-4. Could you win an additional game next year and be 6-3? Yeah, we're going to see some things that are different because one, you don't know who all you're going to play. You're going to probably play Houston again, but are you going to play Cincinnati, UCF? Are you going to play Baylor? BYU? And who aren't you going to play? So that's going to factor into it. So I'm going to say, now to answer your question, I'm going to say Oklahoma is going to be in the top three. I'm going to say Texas Tech's going to be in the top three, and I'm going to say Texas is going to be in the top three.
Okay.
Does that kind of answer your question?
It's in the ballpark.
Okay, well, it's better than it is some days.
Texas Tech will take a step forward with a second offseason with head coach Joe McGuire and his recruiting trail and getting a chance to really dive into the transfer portal to fill some holes. And Texas will take the step back because they're Texas and they're going to take a step back. I'm not giving them a choice. They're taking several steps back, like all the way to the back of the line. At this point, it doesn't matter because we're going to discuss this again later. So I can be optimistic and say Texas is going to suck next year.
To me, it would be hard not to pick TCU as the team that's going to take a step back. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're 12-1. I mean, they're 9-0 in Big 12 action that wasn't in the conference championship game. They could be a really good team next year. And still, and still be like 2 games worse, right?
7-2 would be a step back, right?
And it would still be a really good season, right? In Big 12 play. So I think I would have to go to them. I am really, really wondering about Oklahoma State, who finished 4-5 in conference play and 7-5 overall. I mean, they're having a mass exodus of players there. I don't know what's going on there. It's really interesting. So, wasn't uberly impressed with the freshman quarterback that they had come in that I would guess would be their leader, unless the leading guy is to be the starter next year, unless they added some people in the transfer portal.
Go get a free agent, right? Which
absolutely could happen. Mm-hmm. So I think Oklahoma State would be in that category as well. Man, to me, the one that's harder is who's going to take a step forward. And I don't look at I think you went with Oklahoma as a team that you thought would take a big step forward. That's just built on reputation, right?
Yeah, that's the logo. That's exactly right. That's my feeling that they're not going to stay down there too long. Now, maybe the easy picking, the low-hanging fruit, and you might be getting ready to say this, would be Iowa State.
I don't know that they're going to be any better.
I mean, they're 1-8. So
I didn't think their quarterback was great, and he's back. He'll be back for 2 or 3 more years.
And what
it's harder to pick the team that's going to step forward, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kansas State's going anywhere. I don't know why you think they're going to take a big step back.
I don't know. Just my bias, probably.
Okay. Because Will Howard's not a senior, right? He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they have a coaching change. I mean, would Chris Kleiman be a guy that Purdue would go after? Would Matt Campbell be a guy that more likely that Purdue would go after Matt Campbell? Is Purdue a better job than Iowa State? I think
I would say yes because of the money that they make in the Big Ten.
Yes, that's exactly why I would say that too. Mm-hmm. Is that it's? I don't know that Chris Kleiman would view it like that. He may go, man, we kind of got it rolling here. Why would I want to start over?
That's what I would say.
Yeah,
I wouldn't leave if I was Chris Kleiman. Yeah, so I think the Red Raiders do have the potential to be a team that could take a step forward. I don't know about a huge step forward. I mean, sooner or later, you're going to have a healthy quarterback, right? It's going to happen, right?
Sure. I just think defensively with what you've gotten back.
I think it's massive to get those 2 defensive tackles back. I think that is huge. I mean, those guys are hard to find. Mm-hmm. And you got 2 really good ones that are coming back. I mean, that's just like adding 2 really good ones in the transfer portal.
Sure.
Except they already know your system and they're quality guys and all of the above, great leaders on your team. I think that's massive. That has given me a lot of hope.
Checks all the boxes, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I was when I found that news out yesterday. That's big. So I don't think it would be out of the question to think the Red Raiders would be able to be a win or so better. I think Baylor has the potential to be better than they were too, because I think Dave Aranda's a good coach, and they showed at times this year that they could be really good.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then there's KU. I mean, what happens with them? I mean, do they win another game in the conference? They were 3-6, 6-6 overall. They had really 2 cupcakes in the non-con. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what happens with them. You know, if they're able to win a game or more. I think
they're the same boat as the Red Raiders, so you wouldn't be shocked to see them win at least one more game.
Yeah. I think
before.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that, and finish 7-5 or something like that.
I bet you there'll be a team that's a lot of guys in the portal will be interested in, because he seems like a coach that players would want to play for.
It kind of looks like they finally have a little bit of stability there at the head coaching spot, which for them would go a long way.
You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah. I mean,
impressive?
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Nice to have you with us this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. It's our pleasure to have you with us this morning. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to doublet973.com for that through the mobile app, which is presented by Happy State Bank. Benchmark hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. So the United States of America has done a deal with Russia to get the release of Brittney Griner. They've basically exchanged a guy that we had been holding, an arms dealer, for quite some time, and she is free. I guess on one hand I'm glad she's free. I hate the fact that a Marine is still there in Paul Whelan, who's been there for 4 years. I don't particularly like the fact that she's going to be made out to be a martyr or a conquering hero, because what she did was wrong.
Well, she broke the law.
She broke the law.
I think we all agree the punishment was
excessive,
incredibly harsh. Yes, for the law that she broke, but she broke a law.
And I hate the fact that you had to basically treat Russia like a terrorist and do a trade, but it is what it is. It's just like I said. I mean, what she did was wrong. She broke the law. The punishment was excessive,
big time.
But the problem is that you still have a guy over there who is not as celebrated because he wasn't a basketball player. He's a Marine that fought for our country, and he's been there for 4 years, and he still sits there.
Yeah, that's the part that, when initially I saw the news, like the excitement of, oh, wow, they finally got this deal done, and the Marine and Brittney Griner are going to come back home, and to find out it was a 1-for-1 swap, and the Marine is left, and the basketball player who committed a crime is the one that's heading home.
Yeah.
That's just hard to take.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to take.
Yeah. So that, again, I'm glad she's out. I'm glad that this will be off the front page. But I hate the fact that
it's going to be on the front page for a few days. Yeah.
For a few days, but I mean, at least the constant, of this will end. And this is not about anything other than, I hate the fact that the Marine was left behind, and at some point in time she needs to be accountable for her end of this, what she did, because
it's not what we do anymore, Chuck. Nobody's accountable. Nobody's responsible for their own actions.
You go to a foreign country and you know what you're putting in your bag, okay? It's like we went to Bangkok this summer, and we knew exactly what we were going to take into the country, what we're going to take out of the country, what we're going to declare when we came back into our country. We flew domestically inside of Thailand and, had no problems, no issues. If we'd had, they'd been on us. And to me, it's like what she had in her luggage, she can say, oh, I didn't know it was there. I thought it was okay. No, she was concealing what she was doing. And she put the United States in a terrible spot as a result of that. And now they've had to release a notorious person as a result of her criminal activity. And this guy's an arms dealer, Victor Bout. And I'm happy that she's home and freed from that, because, again, the punishment was excessive. I would love for her to say, I'm sorry, United States of America, I put you in this spot, and moving forward, I'll act like a good American. But I don't think we're going to hear that. You disagree with me?
No, I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's going to be any apology.
No, there's probably not.
No, I don't think.
There's probably going to. Anyway, so that's my take on that. I mean, again, I don't wish ill will on anybody, but I think when you are traveling in a foreign country, or even within our own country, what you put in your bag, and you know that it's going to get looked at, and you know that it's going to be x-rayed, you know that there's going to be dogs around to sniff at it. There's people that are looking for that stuff. So why are you being stupid? How about
not just don't break the law?
Don't be stupid, right?
How about just don't break the law?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I think a lot of things over the last few years could be summed up with, don't break the law. Just don't break the law.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't. And I'm not talking about going 5 miles over the speeding limit.
Right.
Okay? Don't break the law.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Bad things won't happen to you.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Not always, but for the most part.
Yeah. Do the right thing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I just can't imagine how hard it is for
Paul Whalen's family.
Yes, I can't imagine.
Man. Yeah. I'm sure they're like, on one hand, it's like, okay, maybe this helped. Maybe the how they have to look at this in terms of the glass half full is maybe this publicity about her has gotten more publicity about him, and the fact that he's been there for 4 years. I mean, she was there 9 months. He's been there 4 years, and they haven't been able to get him out.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at any rate, that's the take. That's the take on that. So and there'll be a lot of opinions on this, both sides of the aisle. My side of the aisle is she broke the law, punishment excessive. Okay, you got her out. had to give more than what you should have had to give. You got a Marine that's left behind. You got to figure out a way to get him out.
Yeah.
I don't care. She's white, she's black. I don't care. Male, female.
Basketball player, not a basketball player,
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 8:22 this morning on the morning drive. Your thoughts, your comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. You go to doublet973.com for that. We'll have Thursday Night Football on the air for you tonight. The Los Angeles Rams entertain the Las Vegas Raiders. Feels like neither team is going anywhere, Jamie.
Except in the tank, maybe. Yeah, I think you're making lots of sense. I don't feel like either franchise feels good about things right now.
The Raiders are 5-7. The thought was, I think at the start of the season, that the AFC West, that everybody was going to get in because of what the Broncos had added and Russell Wilson. They have been pathetic, 3-9. Anything what they thought they were going to be. Mm-hmm. The Raiders at 5-7. They thought they would be much closer to contending for the division with the Chargers, but they're not. The Chargers even are at 6-6. They're 3 games back of Kansas City. The Chiefs.
Yeah, that division turned out to be disappointing.
Yes, absolutely.
Besides the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so right now you have the Chiefs and the Bills that basically are tied for the one spot there in the AFC, and the Bills would have the tiebreaker because they beat the Chiefs head-to-head. Chiefs did not play well last week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati and Baltimore are both 8-4. Miami's 8-4. They're a game behind the Bills. So it's going to be the AFC. Whoever comes out of the AFC in terms of representing the Super Bowl might be the best team in football. But we'll see how healthy they are by the time they get out of that. Whoever that team is, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I still think there are good teams in the NFC as well. And the Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys, those teams, they're at the top. Obviously, a week ago I told you I thought the 49ers were the best, or going to be the best team. They lose their quarterback, who we find out yesterday could be back for the playoffs. But I don't know. It just it does feel like the AFC has maybe higher end. I don't know. It's hard to say that, though, with the Eagles having just one loss.
I know. They're 11-1, and then, like you said, the Vikings are 10-2. And then, by the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 6-6, and I'm sure Tom Brady will find himself in the NFC Championship game by hook or by crook. Just because he's Tom Brady.
Yeah, okay.
He seems to elevate everybody, right?
Sure.
And, the
That's
Bills
why he's the greatest ever.
Bills got devastating news yesterday with Von Miller's surgery that will end his season. So that's too bad for him because obviously he's a great player, and you hate to see that.
I think devastating news would be Josh Allen's out for the year. I'd say bad news on Von Miller, not devastating.
Okay. Bad news?
Yeah.
Still bad. It's real bad news.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.